All right. My research goal is to develop AI for intelligent systems to make human lives better. And more specifically, I am combining AI and multimedia systems and robotics to make some cool applications. And I do some interactive design and develop some 3D computer vision algorithms. And I also work on service robots. And this is one of my research outcomes. On this empty screen, you can imagine your own keyboard and just type. Then you can type characters like this. And when we visualize human mental model, it looks like this. As you can see here, everyone has their own distinctive mental model. However, if you see just one person, they have very consistent pattern. So from this, we develop this imaginary keyboard. And another example is this one. This one is for smartphones. You can type with 2 thumbs. And one cool thing about this is, as you input more characters, the decoding accuracy improves because you give more context. So it is another example. And this example demonstrates writing in the air. So you just look in the camera and just write with your index finger, and then the system will recognize what you're writing. So this was about interaction design. And I also work on 3D computer vision systems. And this is called 3D scene graph. So you just scan the environment with a camera, and it will visualize the environment as this graph structure. And you are going to learn how to implement this graph data structure in the later of this course. So the edges represent the relations between objects, and the nodes represent the objects. All right, another example of 3D computer vision is we just input some image sequences, and this algorithm estimates the depth map like this. So by just looking at this RGB image, my algorithm can detect how far these objects are. And it can also detect some objects like this. And I also worked on service robots. So basically, what I wanted to do was letting this robot learn my behavior. So I drink a cup of water and then put the cup on the table and then dispose this cup. And this robot learns my behavior pattern. And when I finish drinking water, and this robot will dispose this cup for me. So this is what I do as my research. All right, that was pretty much about me. And now I want to know about you a little bit. You can scan this QR code, or on this slide, there is a link, this one. You can go to this link and you can tell me about yourself a little bit. I'll give you like 2 minutes, and please do that for me. I'll give you 1 more minute. All right. All right, I'll just show you the results. Thank you for your feedback and your response. Most of you are in second grade, and majority of you are from electrical engineering and liberal arts and sciences. And in your free time, majority of you do computer games, sports, and social media. That's cool. And one of the reasons why you guys are taking this course is because this course might be helpful for your study and research in other areas. And some of you are taking this course again. Hello again. And how demanding do you want this course to be? Medium level, and some are easy. And some students want this course to be very difficult or somewhat difficult. And how much time are you going to spend for this course? About between 5 to 10 hours. And how many courses are you taking this semester? Around 6 courses. And some of you are taking quite a lot of courses in this semester. And some of you have experience in Python. And 1 course, 2 course, more than 2. And 35% of you never used Python before, and this is first time using Python. And you guys are expecting to improve your coding skills or learn about Python data structures. And you expect nothing from this course. A+, cool, good luck. Another good grade here. All right. Thank you for your feedback. All right, that was about you. And we have 3 great TAs in this course. TAs, would you stand up and say hi to students? So, Songdon Lee, he is Songdon Lee, and Eun-gyul Lee, okay, and Jae-sun Lee. All right, they are going to help you guys understand this course and successfully finish this course. All right. All right, that was about us. Any questions up to this point? Okay, let's move on. From now on, I'm going to talk about what we are going to discuss throughout the course. First of all, what are data structures? Data structures are the ways programmers organize data to efficiently process. Here, process means storing or reading or updating some information. So basically, data structures help us process data or information more efficiently. And the data structures we choose highly affect the performance of our programs. And what kind of data structures to use depends on the type of information our program deals with. And I'm going to show you some examples of data structures. This is called lists. It is basically a sequence of data elements. So it is basically just a list, all right? And there are some data structures called stacks. It's also basically the stacks we use in our daily lives. So we put some items on the top like this and take away some items from the top. So that's stack. And there is also a data structure called queues. So when you are in line waiting for something, first come, first served, right? So that is what queues are about. And there are also trees. Trees really look like real world trees. So they have some nodes and branches like this. And there are also graphs. I told you about 3D scene graph. And graphs are very efficient for representing some relations between objects. So we are going to learn these types of data structures in this course. Then why do we learn data structures? It is to become a better programmer. And in this course, we are going to learn how to implement fundamental data structures and when and where to utilize pertinent or the correct data structures. And sometimes pre-existing data structures might not be good for your own applications. In those cases, you need to design your own data structures. And you are going to learn how to design your own data structures as well. And data structures are very essential for your future career. When you become a researcher in the future, then you need to perform experiments by implementing something. It is called prototyping. And if you want to do some experiments, you need to be able to implement some ideas very efficiently. And in the job market, they do coding tests or interviews. This is to distinguish good programmers and bad programmers. And I'm pretty sure that you guys might have heard about coding interviews. And this course will prepare you in some way. Then what are the differences between good programmers and bad programmers? In other industries, like construction or electrical engineering or something, the productivity difference between good engineer and bad engineer is just about 2 times. It's not that much. However, in computer science, the productivity gap can reach around 28 times. And this Google vice president mentioned that one top-notch engineer is worth 300 times or more than the average. So different from other industries where you need to spend quite a lot of time to implement something, like think about you're designing a circuit, then you need to actually put some like circuit sockets on the breadboard, and you need to spend some time. However, when it comes to computer science, you just need to write down the codes occurring to your mind. So the productivity can be very, very different. So long story short, this course is to help you become good programmers. And there are some tips. This is very important. Some of you are very familiar. Some of you might be very familiar with programming. However, some of you might have difficulties understanding data structures. And these tips might be very helpful for you. Programming is quite similar to learning another language. And one of the best ways to learn languages is simply memorizing. So this is a Korean example. So 가방 은호는. Yeah, the correct one is 은. And 친구 은는. Yeah, 는. Do you guys know the rule? When we need to use 은 and 는? So if there is a 받침, then we just use 은. If there is no 받침 here, then we use 는. However, when we use these languages, we don't think about those rules, right? We just memorize them. So if you are not familiar with programming or Python language, you better do this. First, understand how to write some code blocks to solve problems. So I will discuss this in lectures. And if you cannot write those concepts on your own, then memorize the whole solution, code blocks, right? And memorizing the whole solution means you could write the solution code on an empty file or sheet. So in this process, you can improve your understanding. So if you think you are not good at programming, memorize quite a lot of code blocks. Then after you memorize like 50 code blocks, you'll be very good at programming. I'm pretty sure about that. Okay, that was about course topics. Any questions up to this point? All right, let's move on. This one is also very important, course logistics. We are going to use Python. Python offers good usability. It is very intuitive grammar. It's quite similar to natural language. And it is also very high productive. It is interpreter-based language, and it offers many modules and etc. And science and engineering friendly language. So in data science and AI, we always use Python. More precisely, we'll use Python 3 rather than Python 2. The difference between Python 2 and 3 is not that huge. However, there is no more updates for Python 2, and Python 3 offers improved performance. So we are going to use Python 3 in this course. And we will use Google Colab as our development tool. And I'm going to show you what Google Colab is. It is an online code editor, and you can execute those codes online. I'll show you how to use it in a moment. It looks like this. And the prerequisite of this course is formally GS 1401, but it doesn't really matter. Even if this is your first programming course, it's okay. You know some programming, or at least you know what it is. And perhaps you have some mathematical experience like linear algebra or calculus. And what you just need for this course is a laptop or desktop with an internet browser. That's all you need. And what we are not going to do this semester is attendance check. I'll run live lectures and put the recordings on the web. However, still, you are highly recommended to attend the live lectures because I'm going to give you a set of in-class exercises, and you can ask lots of questions. And this might be the only occasions you can communicate with me. I offered office hours last year. However, nobody came to me. So this might be the only occasion that you can communicate with me. And another thing we're not going to do in this semester, in this course, is homework grading. I'm not going to grade your homeworks, but still you need to submit your homework. So if you just submit your homework, then you will get full credit. So don't copy others' code, all right? Just solve it on your own. And if you cannot solve those problems, homework problems, then ask me or TAs. They will help you. So don't copy other people's code. And you will have around 10 to 14 homeworks, and majority of exam problems will be based on homeworks. So you better study homeworks. And just memorizing the solutions or cracking before the exams would not work because they are programming problems. You need to understand the logics and how those logics are flowing. And one cool thing about our homeworks is some homework problems actually appeared on coding interviews of Google, Facebook, or etc. So try those problems on your own. And this is the grading policy. Homework submission takes up about 10% of your final grade. And midterm, these dates might change. I'll inform you this later. Midterm is about 35%, and final exam will be 55%. And there is going to be no makeup exams except by prior approval by me for medical or family emergencies or pre-arranged university-approved absences. In other cases, there are going to be no makeup exams, okay? And the lecture format, online or face-to-face. Last year, majority of students preferred online lecture format, and only 10% preferred face-to-face lecture. This class is face-to-face, and next class is going to be Zoom lecture, online lecture. And after, at the end of next class, I'll do survey again and determine the lecture format. All right, so next class, we are not going to gather up here, but we'll have just online lecture. And these are some comments from last semester. Some students told me that the class was somewhat fast. And I talked about too much. And it was fast. And the exam problems were like 0 or 1. And it was fast and difficult. So what I'm going to do this semester is this. I'll try to slow down the pace and explain concepts in as much detail as possible. And I'll also provide 2 types of in-class or homework problems. First one is somewhat easier versions, like fill in blanks. And the second one is I just give you the problems and you need to implement from start to the end, like from scratch. And still, I plan to cover most of fundamental concepts as last semester. And please ask a lot of questions if some things do not seem clear to you. You can ask me questions before or after classes, or you can visit me during my office hours, or you can utilize TA sessions or like recitations. And in this semester, we are going to run recitations. Recitation activities are as follows. Basically 3 components. TAs are going to summarize some fundamental concepts, and they are going to give you some example problems, concept problems and coding problems, and they will receive some questions from you. And TA session starts from next week. So this week we do not have recitations, but from next week we have recitations. And miscellaneous topics. We are going to have no textbook in this course. We have lecture slides, example codes, and homework problems, and tons of materials on the web. And the course website is this one. And I will upload all the materials on the course website, and we're not going to use LMS. Sometimes it's quite slow. And this one is very important, the honor code. This honor code requires you to maintain the high standards of intellectual integrity. And cheating, falsification, fabrication, plagiarism, facilitating academic dishonesty. And even though you failed to violate the honor code and just attempting to commit an academic dishonesty, still you will be punished. All right. So we are not going to grade your homework, so solve it on your own. And this one is very important. Never ask me to modify your scores or grades for no reasons. It's violation of a well-known Korean act, Kim-Yong-Nam-법. You can actually get punished. So don't ask me to modify your grades or scores. 1 or 2 points do not affect your grades in general. So don't risk getting F or even facing the GIST committee for small points. All right. Okay, that was about course logistics. Any questions up to this point? Yeah. Sorry? You can ask in Korean. Yeah, exams will be face to face. Recitations are 연습반 in Korean. It is not mandatory. It is optional. You can choose to attend it or not. If you could understand this week's materials fully on your own, you don't have to attend recitations. And I will also share recitation resources on the web. All right. So it's not mandatory. It's optional. It's just to help you guys understand this course more deeply. Any other questions? We are going to determine the recitation schedule next class. I'm going to do a survey. Okay. Any other questions? Yeah.
그쪽에서 교수님께서 수험부에 TA 아워를 말씀하셨죠? 오피스 아워를 말씀하셨던 것 같은데 그거에 대한 시간 안내가 없었던 것 같아서 질문을 드리고 싶습니다. 아까 전에 수험 포션 있으면 포션하고 아니면 오피스 아워라든가
Yeah, that is a very good question. My office hour is this one, Thursday, 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. or by appointment. You can email me. All right. Good question. Any other questions? All right, then let's talk about Python a little bit. So this is how you can make Colab. Here in your Google Drive, you click New. Sorry for Koreans. And Google Colab may not appear here, and you can click More or 더보기 here. Then you can find Google Colab Laboratory here. And if it doesn't appear here, then you can click this plus button, and you can make Google Colab like this. Okay. Then it will create an editor like this. And when you go to our course website, I share the link of our class Colab. And if you just click this link, then you will be directed to this one. And when I modify some codes here, you can access this code on the fly. All right, let's get started. First of all, it is very easy to run some Python codes here. You can just click this plus code button, then it will create a code block. And here, we can check the Python version. And if you just shift enter, then this code block will be run. Or you can click this run button here. And the results of running this code block will show up here. When you first run this code block, it takes some time, but after first running, it will be fast. It takes longer than usual. Right, so we are using Python 3.8.10. This is our Python version. And what we do for the first time when we learn a new language is printing hello world. Printing in Python is very easy. You just call this print function, and between these two parentheses, you pass the text you want to print out. Then we'll just print out hello world. And you can print anything you want. Like this, it's pretty easy. And in Python, there might be some comments. Comments means you do not want to execute this part. So this one, this shop is for single line code. So this will not be executed. And if you use this these symbols, then this block will be skipped. Okay, so when I run this code block, nothing will show up, right? And there is one cool thing about Python. It's called none. None means empty. So when you print none, we'll print out none. And you can print also some numbers like this. Oh, can you guys see the letters, text here? It's okay? Is it readable? All right. So I told you about none. And when you print 1, print 2, and the results are somehow awesome. So it prints out 1 and 2 and none. Can you guys guess the meaning of this? So none means empty. Nothing is there. And when you print out something, this function returns something. However, it does not return anything. And that is represented by none. So in this whole block, print 1 prints 1 here. And this print 2 prints 2 here. And after executing these two function calls, it will return nothing. So it returns nothing, meaning none, and also returns nothing, meaning none. So we have 2 nones. So this is why 2 nones are printed here. So you can play with this print function on your own and try to understand non-object. And we can also talk about some variables in Python. In C++ or other languages, you need to define a variable like this, right? So you need to indicate the type of data this variable is going to store. However, in Python, you don't have to indicate this data type. You just assign whatever you want to this variable like this. It doesn't matter. So you don't have to indicate the data type of this variable. Okay? So Python offers a special function called type to let you know the type of data this variable is storing. So when you print var and call type function like this type function will let you know the data type stored in this variable like this. So when we run var2, it says the data stored in var2 is the string. Okay, so if you cannot figure out what data type is stored in some variables, you can call this type function. Okay, and you can do many things like addition or subtraction or multiplication or exponentiation like this. It's pretty intuitive, right? And you can also add some value to this variable like this. And this will be 4 because var was originally 3. And you can shorten this expression like this. What will be the result? It's going to be 5 because here we made our var 4 and here it's going to add 1 to this var. So it's going to be 5. All right. And we can also shorten this one as this. Okay. So these two expressions are the same ones. And these are integers, and we can also work with some floating numbers. This one says float, right? Real numbers. And we can do the same thing for floats. y plus 1, y times 2, y exponentiated like this. All right. So we can do the same thing for floats or integers. And for integers, there are some special operations. So this slash is dividing, right? Division. And the difference between single slash and double slash are as follows. You just don't care about the numbers after dot when it comes to double slash. However, the single slash is just normal division, all right? And this percent means the remainder. So when you divide 10 by 3, it's going to be 3 times 3 plus 1. It will return this remainder here, all right? So these are some special operations for integers. And I'll give you like 1 minute and try to think about what will be the results of running this code block. Think about it. Anyone can guess the answer for this code block? All right, let's do this together. What will be the result of running this one? Any guess? Let's run this together. The result of running the first expression is 4.0 because it is normal division. And the second expression results in 4 because we do not care about the remainders. And when we divide 25 by 100 and want to get the remainder, it's going to be 0 times 100 plus 25. So the remainder is 25, right? And the result of the fourth expression is 512. Can you guys guess why it is so? Yeah, it is done first. Like this, okay? So this will be 9 and 2 to the 9. Okay. And the result of this, which one is evaluated first? The left one? The right one? This one? The center one. All right, think about it on your own. So you need to be careful about the order of evaluating these expressions, okay? So play with some examples on your own and try to figure out the order of evaluating expressions. Okay. All right, that was about integers and floats. And there are also other types of variables in Python. That is called Boolean. So when you assign true or false to these T and F variables, the type is bool or Boolean in full name. And you can do basically the same thing as you did for C++ or Java. T and F, it's going to be false, because true and false is false. T or F is going to be true, because if one of them is true, then the result is going to be true. And you can also do like not T, like this, and it's going to be false. And you can also compare two variables if they have the same values, like this. So if T and F are different, then T and F are different, so it is true, right? So this expression itself is true. And you can do also things like this, F or 3. So what will be the results? It's going to be 3. It's somewhat awkward, right? When we do F or T, it's going to be true. So what is the difference? In Python, Python tries to make this operation fast. So what we do is, if the first expression is false, then the whole expression's true or false is determined by the second parameter, right? So rather than evaluating the second parameter, if the first expression is false, then it just returns the second parameter. So that is why the result is 3, okay? And here, the first expression is, so let's have a look at this one. T or 3, then the result is going to be true. Because the first expression is true, it just returns true rather than evaluating the rest of it. Okay? So if we have like F or 4, still the result will be 3. Okay? And here are some questions you could think about. I'll give you like 2 minutes to think about these expressions and try to figure out what will be the result. All right, can you guys guess what the results will be? Let's evaluate each of them together. When we run this code block, division by 0 error occurs. So let's have a look at the first one. Because the first one is true, the trueness or falseness of this whole expression is determined by the second parameter. So it will just return the second parameter as the result. That is why 13 appears here. So this one is solved. And when we try to evaluate this expression, the first parameter is false. So the whole falseness or trueness of this whole expression is determined by the second parameter, right? So if this one is true, then the whole expression is true. If this one is false, then the whole expression is false. So rather than evaluating this part, Python just returns this value. Okay, so that is why 0 appears here. And something larger than 0 is considered true by Python. And this value is true. So not true is false. So that is why false appears here. Okay. And I didn't told you about this. However, none means nothing, as I told you. And nothing is considered false in logic. So this one is basically false, and not false is true, right? So that is why true appears here. So this one is solved. And let's have a look at the fifth one. Here, the first value is true. So it doesn't have to look at the first part. However, it has to look at these parts. However, we have another and here, and this one does not determine the trueness of this expression, right? If this one is true as well, then the trueness of this expression is determined by the third parameter. So it has to evaluate the second parameter, right? However, the second parameter is 1 divided by 0. However, we cannot divide some numbers by 0. And when this happens, when we try to do this, Python incurs an error. And it is called zero division error, okay? So that's why an error occurred here. And what will be the results of running this expression? It's going to be just true, because the first expression is true. We don't have to look at the rest of it, right? So this part is not executed by Python. So even though we have divide by 0 part here, it is not evaluated. So that's why there is no error occurred. Okay? So Python tries to make this process quite efficient. So if the first parameter is true, it doesn't have to look at the rest of it. Okay? And what is the result of running this part? This part is true. Something other than 0 is true, and 1 is larger than 0, so it is true. And this one, again, incurs an error because it has to evaluate the first expression. And the first expression is 1 divided by 0, and it is an error, okay? And what will be the results of the last expression? It is going to be false. Even though this one is true, there is false here, so it is going to be false, right? So up to this point, we talked about the prim function and the non-object. And we talked about the integer variables, string variables, and Boolean variables. And the last variable type I'm going to introduce in this class today is strings. In Python, defining string is very easy. Single apostrophe or double apostrophe, it doesn't matter. You can use either of them, okay? Python doesn't differentiate between single apostrophe or double apostrophe. And you can print out hello like this. And you can also count the number of characters in this variable like this, okay? So this is going to be hello, and the length of this variable, 5. And we can do addition and subtraction, addition of strings like this. You can print out hello plus world like this. Then it will concatenate hello and world. Like this. And you might want to combine strings and numbers. So for example, if you want to print out hello plus num1 plus world like this, an error occurs. You cannot add string and numbers like this. However, you can convert numbers into strings by calling stir function. Here I call it a function. In fact, it is class initiator. Anyway, you can convert numbers into strings like this. And you can do another conversion like this. This is what you can expect. Okay, hello plus string 1, 2, 3 plus world. And one cool thing is you can actually add number 1 to 3 and non-string. However, you need another conversion process. This one will not work. However, you can convert in strings that are in the form of integers into integer by calling this int function. Then this will convert string 1 to 3 into number 1 to 3 and add this number to 1 to 3 like this. All right, so the results will be 2, 4, 6. So you need to be careful about converting strings into numbers and numbers into strings. And Python offers some special functions for strings. You can call these functions by string variable dot. You can capitalize all these characters like this. You can also call upper function like this. Then all the characters inside this string will be capitalized. And you can also find out the standard like this. So there are multitudes of functions offered by Python. You can replace L by ELL like this. So you can have a look at the full list of these functions by typing that here. And if you just try to, if you cannot come up with the full name, you just type some of the function name, then it will show you some candidates, all right? And I'll leave the link of the full list of functions offered by Python. Okay, this was strings. So up to this point, we talked about Python and some variable types, some integers and floats, booleans, and strings. All right. So today we introduced the concept of data structures and discussed why we learn data structures and talked about the course logistics and covered some features of Python 3. This is the end of this lecture. If you have any questions, you can stay here and have a good day.